What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to do a breakdown of the new College Football 25 gameplay deep dive video and features and everything that they released today. Now, they released a 5-minute video. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. I'm not going to show it here. I'm also not going to read every single thing that is in this blog post. I will have a link in the description below and throughout where you can read all of this. I suggest you take your time and go through all of it. And there's a lot of cool things that they're adding. I'm really excited to showcase some of it. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to highlight things that piqued my interest personally. Some people have certain things they care more about than others, and I'm no different. And we're going to cover those in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is playbooks. That's my favorite part of any football game, along with actual good gameplay, of course. But in this game, they have over 1,500 new plays, more than 50 formations, along with 134 team playbooks. So 1,500 new plays. I don't know if that means those are like brand new concepts that we've just never seen in a game before. I'm going to guess no. I'm imagining and hoping a lot of the classic standard stuff is going to be in here. All your basic air raid concepts, a lot of your mirrored passing concepts, basic dive, option, there's all that should be in there. But I fully expect some really weird new things to be included. Now, when it comes to formations, 50 formations, that sounds like a lot. But I'm not going to lie, when it comes to 06, my favorite game, a 20-year-old game, has 60. So does that mean this game has more than 50 but less than 60? Or is that just 50 plus? There could be 90 formations. Who knows what that means? Either way, 50 formations is plenty enough to have fun with. And of course, this is a PlayStation 5/Xbox game. They can always update and add new things over the course of the year. So they also got the 134 team playbooks. This is nothing new. All the past games have had specific team playbooks, especially when you get to like the PS3, technically from NCAA Football 07 onwards, where each team playbook was just really different from the next, especially in the combination of plays that they put in those playbooks. So I expect this to really be no different. But what's neat is they got 10 non-team playbooks. These are your generics. You got the air raid, multiple, pistol, power spread, option, pro, run and shoot, spread option, and the veer and shoot. I'm really excited about that one. And it says these playbooks can be customized and saved as a custom playbook. Thank the Lord this is in here. I would be okay if it wasn't, because there's more than enough team playbooks to really enjoy and really dive into. But to be able to create your own is even more exciting. Now, which adds an extra layer of strategy to the game. Now, before we move on, I just want to show, this was the first time we actually got to see a little bit of the play call screen, and it shows a formation, wing X off close, shows how many plays there are and who's on the field, and I thought it was kind of funny. It says 89 and number 89. So I wonder if they will fix that, where you can't have two players with the same jersey number on the field. I'm assuming they will, so I'm just not going to overthink this, but I just thought it was interesting nonetheless. Here was another screenshot where they showed that you can do things by concept in terms of sorting your playbook, trying to find the plays you need. In this case, they showed inside zone. There are 19 inside zone plays in this particular formation. But let's go ahead and into the play call screen. So this is where I really got excited. I wanted to see what this looked like, what was offered. Starting off, you got the different ways to find the plays that you need. You could do it by code suggestion, player formation, which is very popular. Most people will use that. Or if you're really conceptual, I like the concept side of things, I may use this a little bit more as I continue to play the game. You can also do it by play type. Play type is just run, pass, RPO, that type of thing. Personnel, I find really interesting, like my current offense with Syracuse and my Syracuse dynasty is very personnel heavy, and I figure I may use some of that as well. You can also set your favorite plays, which is really cool, and you can also go by recent. Now, all this is technically not new. This is in the Madden games, but I just think it's good that they added all this back in to this game. Now, this is the Air Force playbook. They got a little bit of everything. If anybody watches Air Force, they're a really fun offense to watch if you enjoy the triple and just option offense in general, but they do it from a lot of different formations, and it looks like this playbook is pretty accurate to that. They got some flex bone formations, some power eye, Maryland eye pistol. I guarantee there'll be some shotgun in here as well. And this is where we get another look at some formation. So here's the flex bone being highlighted. This is flex bone. normal, the most common flexbone formation out there. And it says in this one, they got 21 plays in it. So, of course, if you go to like the Navy playbook, it may only have like 18 plays in their flexbone normal. You just never really know. Then over here on the right, it's got key players. I wonder if this will change throughout the game. This probably will show stats throughout the game. If I'd imagine, like on top of what you see over here, again, I'm just speculating, who knows what will happen there. And this is our first chance we got to look at the score bug. I think this is pretty cool. We're going to look at that throughout the rest of this video. But I want you to look down here. They got the back button. They got a substitution button. I guess this is quick substitutions. And this is actually going to matter a whole lot when we talk about the wear and tear features a little bit later on. Super Sim, that is in the game. On top of, and I'll go ahead and mention it now, when it comes to Super Sim, they got a victory formation Super Sim in a sense. Pretty much when it's mathematically impossible for the other team to win, you can just go ahead to the victory formation and end the game for you right there, which is pretty cool. Then they got sub packages. Thank the Lord this is in here. It just adds more strategy to your playbook and how you want to get your best players out there. And coach adjustments, which we'll look at a little bit later. Here were a few other formations in the Flexbone. They had close, which is bringing your wide receivers closer. East. I've never heard of a Flexbone East formation. I guess that's a thing in the Flexbone family. That's pretty cool either way. It looks like a wing bone setup from the way I can kind of tell there. Either way, pretty cool. Then you got Flexbone tight. So anytime I can show some playbook related stuff, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for it. They wanted to reiterate that the Flexbone option offense is actually in the game. I guess some people were just a little nervous that it wouldn't be because there's so few teams that run it now. But it's obviously in there. We've already seen some of the formations. And, of course, they're going to have triple option, midline, rocket toss, counter option, and zone dive. Now, when it comes to defensive playbooks, this is what I expected. They're going to have generic playbooks assigned to each team. So if you are a 4-3 team, you're going to have the 4-3 multiple or the basic 4-3. But here they all are: 3-2-6, 3-4. 3-4 multiple, 3-3-5, 3-3-5 tight, 4-2-5, 4-3, 4-3 multiple, and multiple. So there's like 10 or so right there, more than enough to have a lot of fun with. What I think is pretty neat, there's a lot of spread defenses in this one, from the 3-2-6, 3-3-5 tight, 4-2-5, 3-4 multiple is actually going to have a little bit of like nickel built in that as well. At least I'm imagining that it would be. Either way, this is really cool. I'm really excited about all of that. This is our first shot of actual plays on the play call screen. And in this case, this is the Clemson playbook. They have it broken down by formation, and you go to the gun sets, and this is what's going to pop up. These are all the gun formations for this playbook, and they actually show a few plays here. And they got an RPO, a run, a pass. So typical read bubble. This has been in a lot of games so far, especially in Madden. But inside zone, and they got a little flood concept over here. It even shows you how many times you called it and what your average yardage was. Just all little bitty things that I'm sure people will enjoy. But either way, I really got excited when I first saw this. Now, you notice here at the bottom, we got a few other things. You can double tap to add or remove your favorite. You can do that on the fly, which is cool. You can look at your audibles. You can flip the play. And of course, you've got Super Sim, and you still got some coach adjustments, which again, we'll look at a little bit later. They mentioned a little bit more about the RPO. It says a new glance RPO play type has been added, giving players the ability to read a safety to the side of the glance route, which is the short post. I know Steve Sarkisian's really big on that type of RPO at Texas. This year's game is filled with RPO plays. You're going to see a few different ones. Consequently, we organized the need to enhance defense's ability to counter them, which is good. A lot of people are getting a little nervous if this game is going to be very offensive oriented. I'm hoping not. I hope it's just a nice balanced game. In the majority of defensive alignments, defenders who are positioned away from the run action will prioritize their pass responsibilities. Additionally, defenders have been designed to be more aggressive in fending off blocks from incoming receivers. On top of that, run-fit defenders are now capable of responding to the run action more rapidly, enabling them to come downhill and make the stop. So yes, the offense is getting some love, but the defense is getting some love from as well, and as it should be. Here's another screenshot of the play call screen. This time they're doing it by coach. suggestions, and they're going to show, a couple of different special teams things, like special teams, a shield punt. So I'm fully expecting a handful of different types of punts, because you got a basic special teams punt. But here's the shield, I guess, if you just need extra protection, and you got a fake punt sweep, and who knows what else they're going to have. So you see the little scroll bars. Well, yeah, there we go. They got 12 plays just in special teams alone. But again, this is just coach suggestions. If you go to the formation and under special teams, there's probably a whole lot more. I want to highlight a handful of oddball formations that I noticed in the video, starting off with this one from Michigan. I don't know what this is called, but I did not know they had a 3-stack tight end look. Let me just count these real quick. You got 3, 6, 9, 10. So they got a wide receiver over here you just can't see on the screen. But they got a stacked tight end look on this side, which I think is just really cool. So it's good that they're paying attention to that sort of thing. Now, also in this screenshot, we're going to highlight a few other things. Stadium Pulse is back in the game, which is cool. Looks like the Longhorns, Texas, their toughness rank is 20th. I'm sure this will change when you're in Dynasty. I would just imagine so. It can go up and down. And also notice you got the little rectangle under each player, especially the quarterback. I think the top one is the fatigue and the other one is something else. I'll have to go back and read it, but it's one or the other. I think the wear and tear may be the one at the bottom. So it looks like this quarterback is really good to go in terms of fatigue and the wear and tear. Now, this screenshot warms my bones. We are now going to get to look a little bit of the veer and shoot, the wide splits. Look how far out the outside receivers are. They're pretty much hugging the sideline. So if you had this ball, I'm sure like on either hash, they would still be on the sideline, so it would adjust itself. Either way, it's really cool. Now, they're showing Oklahoma. This is when Jeff Lebby was the offensive coordinator there last year. He's now at Mississippi State, but it looks like we're going to keep that offense. I think Seth Littrell is their new offensive coordinator. Either way, we got new formations, and it looks like they're more true than ever, especially me being a Tennessee Vol fan. I'm really excited to throw some veer and shoot out there and see how that stuff works. Here's another veer and shoot formation. This is a wide stack look. You see it's flipped on this case, but they got double stacks on each side, and look how close they are to hugging the sideline. So like I mentioned earlier, they got the ball on the left hash, but look over here. Look how wide they are. This is awesome to see this in this game and on either side. So you can just do some serious damage, and the more you play with like the veer and shoot, the more you realize why some teams just absolutely love using it. But it's just really cool that it's in here nonetheless. Now, also, again, this is the score bug. This is the last time I'll mention it, but I think this is really nice. Some people think this is the cleanest it's ever looked for any football game. As long as it's got the information I need, then I'm good with it. But either way, I think it looks good. It's out of the way of the gameplay. The older games used to have it like up here over in the top left, but kind of down here where there's not much action happening behind your backfield, I think is a good place to put it. Here's another screenshot of a different play from a different formation. I have no idea what it's called, but it looks pretty cool. Looks like they got a new shotgun 5 wide set. It looks like a flex look. You got your X receiver on the line along with your Y receiver and a few other guys coming off of it. But anyway, I just thought that was really neat and got a pretty cool little concept. Looks like a flood concept to the left. Either way, really cool. The next thing I want to talk about are hot routes. Now, they have overhauled this. If I'm not mistaken, forgive me, I'm not a Madden player, but I think they had the Hot Route Master, which everybody hated. They got rid of all of that, and now you just got a bunch of hot routes to play with. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ones, actually. This is one set. Now, I think this is for inside receivers. It doesn't say this. It just says wide receiver hot routes. But technically, you got 12 different ones. So if you use the left joystick, you got a streak, out, curl, and an in. These are your most common ones that have been in the games forever. Then if you use the right joystick, you got a post, corner, slant, and drag. These are all your angle routes, more or less. Then you got, with the directional pad, you got deep cross, zig, short cross, and wheel. So 12 total. Then you got a few other ones. Now, in the blog, it mentioned that there are only 12 that you can pick from, but I'm also seeing a flat and I'm also seeing a hitch. So it looks like I'm seeing 14. They were talking about custom stems. This is where you can adjust the length of your route. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And of course, you got smart routes as well. All of this is just really neat. So here's another set of wide receiver hot routes, but notice they're a little bit different. You got on the left joystick fade, not a streak, but a fade, and a speed out, and an in and a curl. So they've adjusted them just a little bit, and they changed them around depending on who is the receiver that is getting the hot route. Then you go to your right joystick, you got post, slant, corner, drag. But then look over here on the D-pad, a bang 8 route. Really cool that it's in here. Triple option. Some people may be wondering what this is. I'm going to guess that this is an option route. Think Haas Y juke, where you got the juke doing either a curl, an out, an in. I'm pretty sure this is an option route of some sort. I could be dead wrong though. Deep dig, and then you got a few other things. You got a comeback route and a smoke screen. So this depends on who you are selecting to do the hot route. So if it's a halfback, I'm guaranteeing you he's going to have different routes compared to an outside receiver or an inside receiver. Either way, a lot of good options. Next up, we got audibles. Here are a few different screens of this. We got, in this case, they're going to show Tennessee here in a gun spread halfback weak look, but this is what the audible section looks like. It looks like each formation has their own set of audibles, so it's like 5 or 6. It looks, I guess, 4 technically. My guess is you could probably adjust those outside of the game per formation. I could be dead wrong there, but there they are. And while we're here, I just want to point out a few other things. I think this is really interesting. They show the Mike linebacker. You know, in real football, a lot of pre-snap reads and such, one of the first thing the quarterback does is look for that Mike linebacker and then adjust accordingly. Well, that's what that little M stands for, which I think is pretty cool. Then, of course, you got these squiggly lines with the home field advantage, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And of course, the stadium pulse. Looks like Georgia has a toughness rank of 3. Here is another audible look. Again, this is a different formation, gun normal Y off week. It's got 4 different audibles, and of course, you can reset the play or flip it. But either way, I think you could probably adjust those. Even if you can't, that's still, you got so many different options to choose from in terms of audibles and hot routes. Now, I am not going to be one of, no offense to these newer Madden players, but I am not going to be one of those where I have to make 16 adjustments pre-snap before I call the play. It's just not worth it to me. I just don't want to do it. Everybody plays a little bit differently, but you have the option to do so with all of these option or hot routes and audibles and such. And this is another thing I want to point out. I do not know what this means. The C, I don't know. I honestly just don't know what that means. I'm curious to see what that would be. This is just a normal pass play, so I don't know how this guy right here matters. He's got a C above him. Either way, I'm looking forward to finding out. Here is a smart route where you can just adjust the route on the fly. So you notice here's the first down marker, and this was a basic curl. And I think with the right joystick, you can move it up and you can adjust it not just by the first down. Now, the smart route is technically by the first down, but stems, which we saw earlier, you can adjust it however you want. If you want this curl to go all the way to the back of the end zone, I'm pretty sure that's what the stem is for. Really neat. So here we have another screen with a bunch of various things that are on the screen. So like you are Tennessee in this case, you are on the road, stadium pulse is packed. Now, Nico Iamaleava for Tennessee, he's a freshman quarterback. We're really excited to have him. We think he can really do some special things for us, but he is a freshman. So notice some different things here. Of course, you got the Mike linebacker. They got the C again. I'm not really sure what that is, but you also notice some of these icons are missing. This is nothing new. These were in older games, especially I think in NCAA 14, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they brought it back, and I think it's a pretty cool thing to have. Also, if you notice, they have a few things on the sideline. I don't know, they can always update this stuff. Now, here is a couple of assistants that have cars to show which play is being called. Now, this is completely wrong. Tennessee does not use this kind of format. They use a completely different system to send out their plays. But I just thought it was pretty neat that they went into that much detail and they showed them out there. Now, if you see over here with Georgia, they got a couple of defensive guys showing the defense kind of what plays to call. Either way, that's just all aesthetic. That really means nothing much else than that. Either way, I think it's all pretty neat. Let's talk about composure. They're bringing this back. This is an 06 thing, so it's been around forever. But the way they got it set up, it's a dual-sided look. So you notice like with this quarterback, blue, I think is good and red is bad, if I'm not mistaken. I could have flapped those flip. I'm not sure. Either way, but you notice here, it goes all the way to one side. It shows you that he's really struggling. And if it's all the full red, then their composure is excellent. Either way, you notice a couple of different versions of this. I guess this is something that you can monitor throughout the game. I thought this was interesting. They have a snap button, which is normal. You notice here above the quarterback says a snap on the very next segment, it went to a hike. So what's the difference between a snap and a hike? I don't know why they done that. I don't know if this is something they're going to change at another time. Either way, I just thought that was interesting, but we'll find out soon enough kind of why you have both of them listed there. Here's a screenshot of the power meter when you're throwing the football. I honestly don't know how to feel about this. I didn't play enough of the Maddens to see if I really like this or not. I think in Madden 24, you could toggle this off, but pretty much this is it. You pretty much decide the power of your throw, and if you get it like within the yellow, that's pretty good. Red is not. Blue is getting close to being good, that type of thing. But again, this may be something they may toggle on and off. I kind of hope they do, but if they don't, I'll adjust to it. Here's another basic screenshot. I think this was the first part of the video. I did want to mention this. So when you're on offense, you notice they got this safety with a number 2 above them. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means something kind of special. But what I want to talk about is shells and your coverages and being on defense and how you can disguise that stuff. So it says football problems require football solutions. With the removal of base alignment, we wanted to put our time and effort into improving alignment, along with giving players the ability to disguise your coverages, which is really neat. This is the addition to the chess match that our core fans have been asking for. So I think in the older Maddens, if you saw the base alignment, you knew exactly what they was going to call, so it made it a little bit easier. Now you can disguise that stuff. So it says in the play call screen, use the right joystick while in formation view to command your secondary to position in a range of cunningly disguised looks. These can range from a high-pressure cover 0 blitz to a backed-off cover 4 look. But the excitement doesn't stop there. Before the snap, you also have the option to showcase a 1 high or a 2 high look, depending on the formation you have chosen. So I think this is really cool. So you go back here, and you may see initially a cover 2, but once you snap the ball, this free safety may go right back here and go to a cover 1. So that'd be a really cool way to disguise your coverages. I can see this being very important against another human player. Now, will this work against the CPU? I'm not really sure, but either way, it's really cool that it's in here. Here is another feature that I think is interesting, and it's this right stick thing where it's called the switch stick, where you can on the fly switch from one defender to another. I actually think this is pretty good for the defense, honestly. So if you're controlling this linebacker or safety, whoever this kid is right here, and you feel like this guy is going on a deeper route and you don't think you could cover him and you want your linebacker to stay here, all you have to do is move your right joystick up to control that free safety, and you can defend that as well. So I think that's a pretty neat feature that I think will be a good way to combat some of the better offenses. Let's talk a bit about the new kick meter. You can go back and read it. They go into real detail, sort of how it works, but I think it's pretty neat. I think it's like the old school system where you had to do like a 3-button press to get it right. So I'm okay with this. If you go from 07 onward, a lot of it's just right joystick based where it's like super easy to make kicks. I think they're just making it harder for you to make those kicks, which I'm all in favor of, to making things a little bit more difficult. Now, one thing I do want to point out, notice this screenshot here, they got a little bit of information on the right with the field goal. Notice between this screen and this screen, the completely different formats in terms of font and such. So they're going to pick one of them, the one they like the most. So I just thought it was neat that they have 2 completely different ones. I just don't know if they saw that when they was putting this video together or not. But here you see a little bit better view of the kick meter and such. And it looks like this kicker has one of his abilities at the bottom, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But another thing I just wanted to mention is you can adjust your camera. And I think this is no different than Madden, where you can adjust the camera on the fly on each play. So I'm guessing they're going to have a lot of different camera views to play with. Let's talk about the different tempo adjustments. They showed a handful of these. Now, these are technically coach adjustments. You see tempo adjustment, deep pass coaching, catching, intermediate pass catching, blocking, and then there's something else. My guess it's a run adjustment. Who knows what it could be. But what they did show was the various types of tempo adjustments. You got turbo, chew clock, normal, no huddle. Turbo is pretty much your veer and shoot teams. Chew clock, if you just really need to slow things down, you can do that any which way you want. Normal's normal. Then you got no huddle for all your typical spread teams and whatnot. So it's good you got different versions of this. Now let's talk a little bit about the wear and tear. They go into quite a bit of detail about this. I think this is interesting. This adds a new layer of strategy. Part of being a coach in Dynasty mode is you got team management. You got to put up with what your players are going through. In the older games, if a player got hurt, all you needed to know was how long was he out, and that was it. Now, I don't know if we need to get this in depth in terms of, hey, my quarterback's right butt cheek is sore. Do I need to know that much detail? Probably not. But either way, it's in here. It's something for you to monitor throughout the season, because they mentioned in the blog post that the longer the season goes, the more wear and tear like this kid right here may have. Now, you may want to ignore some of these little typos. You see an LSU player's got Florida right here. UCLA's got Texas. I think that's just something they'll correct once the final game comes out. But either way, just another layer of strategy, another thing you got to keep up with. Here are a few other ones. We already showed this one right here from this halfback. It looks like it's severe, so I guess like anytime he gets a hard hit, it's possible he just may get injured quicker. I'm not really sure what that's going to be like. But then you will have this screen right here. When somebody does get hurt, you got this option. You can either keep him in and it shows what's going to happen, like his injury risk is high if you keep him in, or you substitute his backup, who is absolutely terrible. So just something for you to think about. Let's talk about player abilities. I'll be honest, I don't know how I feel about this. I think there are some good things and some bad things that could come from this, but we'll see. Now, there are over 80 different player abilities. There's mentals and there's physical abilities. And here are a few examples. Like field general, this is a quarterback ability. It's a mental one, but it's one for a quarterback. And it's based off tiers. So like a freshman quarterback that you may recruit may have the field general icon. He can identify blitzers post-snap, which is cool. But if you go on to, he's like a junior or senior, and he gets that thing up to platinum, I'm a little worried that this means that the game will literally tell you who's blitzing. I really don't like that. I kind of want to see the defense disguise those blitzes. But if my quarterback has the platinum field general icon, is it really going to tell me, oh, yes, it shows cover one, but they're technically cover two? If it tells me that, I just don't know how to feel about that. And I hope they go into more detail as to how in depth this goes. But again, there's like over 80 different of these abilities that you can check them out in due time. Now, here are a couple of screenshots of Travis Hunter. So each player has up to 3 mentals and up to 5 physicals. And here are his 5 physicals: sure hands, 50-50 ball, dip, double dip, layout, recoup. So what you can do, this is a positive, I think, is when you're recruiting and you're running like the beer and shoot offense and you need some dudes that can really go down the field and catch those deep balls, maybe you want to recruit guys that are really good on the 50-50s. So that'll really help things out there. So I guess it just depends on your perspective and how you want to go about looking at these abilities. Like here are his mentals: fan favorite, best friend, clear-headed. So like for best friend, QB composure, gain on first down catch. So maybe a good game plan would be on that first drive, if you try to get that first down, maybe you want to go to this guy to pick up that first down, which again will affect your quarterback's composure. So again, just like another layer of depth. Again, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just a little worried that it's really going to show things that I don't really need to see, but that's here or there. It's just, it's a player perspective. Here are a few other screenshots of some player abilities. Safety valve. So this is a halfback. Safety valve. Ultimate ability to win versus man coverage and secure catches when aligned in the backfield. So if you run an air raid offense where you got your halfback in the backfield the whole time, this would be a nice ability for your halfbacks to have. So I guess when you're recruiting, and I'm just assuming and hoping that we can see which abilities these players have, I would go after this a whole lot. So again, just another layer of strategy. Then you got here's a few more quarterbacks. You got Dodd. So standing in the pocket, moderate accuracy boost when throwing to open receivers, step up, sleight of hand. Here's some more halfback ones as well. Sidestep, workhorse. Just some really cool things with this, if this is your thing, and just in terms of the layer of strategy involved. Here is a screenshot of what it looks like when you want to see which abilities each player has. So you notice here at the bottom right, you got your matchups, your composure. We looked a little bit at those earlier. And you got your wear and tear if you want to see how badly your players are hurt and such. But they also got over here the player abilities, and you can see kind of which they have. So, for example, looks like this quarterback only has one ability. Looks like this slot receiver only has two. So that's good. So, but then you got a star halfback that's got 7. So again, just another layer strategy, which again, I think could be a good thing if they know how to handle it correctly. Here are a couple more details on some of those abilities: sidestep, improve fake outs to juke moves. So I guess that's just a nice little small feature. If your halfback can handle the sidestep stuff, then you can use that left joystick and move him around a little bit. And this is the one that worried me the most. Again, so field general. So it literally tells me, okay, here's Quinn Ewers. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He probably has the field general platinum icon. Actually, yes, it is platinum. It's underneath him. And it literally tells me that these two guys are blitzing. I think that's a negative. Just my personal opinion. I don't want to know that. I want to see that post-snap like in real life. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not reading into that too hard. But to me, I think that's just kind of goofy that it literally tells me who's blitzing. So again, I don't know how I feel about that, but it's in the game nonetheless. Here is a screenshot of one of the many different team selection screens that they showed. This is pretty nice, slick, clean, however you want to go about looking at it. I do think it's pretty good. They let you advance alphabetically. I think that pretty much means you can go to A to B, C, D. You could go through those teams real quickly. It also lets you sort by conference. I think that's a new addition. I don't remember if that was in 14 or not. It's been forever since I played it, but I think that's a cool addition. But either way, it looks cool. The one non-gameplay screenshot that I just had to mention was this one. I think the amount of detail here is great. Just pretty much look at the jerseys and how people are wearing what. Like this guy right here, he is wearing a full-blown hoodie. This guy's wearing a sleeve. Here's another guy wearing a hoodie, but different gloves. Of course, they got different face masks. But I just really appreciate that they even bothered to put this in. So that is it. Again, make sure you check out the link in the description below and in the top right. Read this entire blog post. Watch the video. You may find some things that I didn't notice. There's a lot more positives than negatives by far for me. There's always going to be something we can gripe about. But I'm really excited about some of the new things they've added. And I just can't wait to get my hands on it. And so I can actually start going through some of the playbooks and get into some really nitty gritty things that I really enjoy the most. All right. I hope this was helpful. And I'll talk to you later.